All right. I don't know if you heard that. It says recording in progress. Okay, first of all, good evening, everybody. For those of you, I'm assuming you'd all know me, but if you don't, my name is Carlos. I'm in the entertainment industry. I've been around this entertainment industry for almost 40 years. And there's been a lot of great things that have come out of it for me. But I think like everybody, the one thing we can't control is our lifestyle as we get older. And when you start having families, and depending on what stage of life you have that. I'm one of those late bloomers, man. I didn't get married till I was 40 years old. And I didn't have my kids till I was 42. So prior to that, I was that typical guy from the entertainment game. It's very common, I think, in all industries. But for example, after New Year's Eve, we all go into the gym and, do that routine, get a little diet, cut the carbs, blah, blah, cut your sugar down and work out hard and get ready for spring. And then you enjoy spring and you kind of slack off, and then you start all over again at the end of the summer. And that's pretty much been my lifestyle up until I got married, and I was pretty good at it. That I could put on some weight, but I can get in shape real quick by the typical, diets and stuff like that. But I found for me personally, when I got married and we had our first child, all that stuff changed. And I'm sure for all the parents in there, you guys understand what I'm talking about. The luxury of just going to the gym at 6, 7 in the morning if I chose to, or at 10 o'clock at night, that was gone when the first one was born. And with us having two babies back to back, that lifestyle totally changed for me. And I think my body, because I completely just stopped what I was doing, I put on over 60 pounds within a couple of years, and never really focused on it. Just continued to live that lifestyle that I always thought, oh yeah, I can somehow, turn it around. And it was around 2015 when I realized I was over 300 pounds. I was at 306 pounds. And just the typical story, I think some people in here will know what I'm talking about, especially if everyone's got a different story to tell. But my story, I grew up always in shape. I was into the bodybuilding world. So I never knew what it was like to be out of shape. And I just assumed I could get back into it. And when I realized it wasn't as easy as it would be, it got worse because I was getting frustrated. And instead of sticking it out like you would when you were younger, I just let life catch up with me even more. And it got harder for me. When I finally decided to go and get a trainer for the first time in my life, I trusted somebody who's a friend of mine. And I saw some of the transformations that he had done. That's Granville from Athletic Leaders. I love his system. And he was the guy that put me on a strict program. And I'm a strong-minded person, so I was able to do all the typical, get to the gym 3 days a week, put the work in, because I'm not scared to do the work once I got into it. And then, we put a diet in place, and it wasn't that hard to diet, but the luxury I had, and everyone's different, at the time, we had a live-in nanny for our kids. I had 2 of them over a 7-year period. So the meal prep was very easy for me because our nanny did all our meals. So the typical, for those of you to understand meal prep, it's very important when they start putting you on these types of diets where they tell you should be having, 3, 4, up to 5 smaller meals while you're trying to get yourself in shape. Sorry, while I'm talking to you, people are coming in here. So I'm just trying to, are you guys seeing when someone's getting invited in here, or is it just me?
I don't see it.
You don't?
It should be it'll be just you.
Okay, because that's what I guess.
If you want to make somebody a host, they can let them in too, I think, or co-host. I think they'll be able to let them in.
Is there somebody that wants to volunteer that so that I can just keep talking and not have to accept people when they keep coming in here and throwing me off?
Sure, you can make me co-host, and then I can try. If they don't come up, then I'll let you know.
I'm looking, make host. Okay, there we go.
Okay, yeah, I see them. I can let them in.
Perfect, thank you. So going back to that routine, I had a luxury that I had someone doing my meals for me. And, the one thing I always used to tell people around me, I say, if you don't have the time to do your meals the night before for the next day, that's half the problem, because you don't have the meal in front of you. That's when you're going to go do stuff that's going to affect your diet. So I had the luxury that I had my bag packed every morning when I was going on my routine, my normal day. So I didn't have the urge to, because, when you diet, it doesn't have to be the typical what you hear people doing. Like, you can still have good food if you season it right. So once the meal is prepared, it's the right stuff you're supposed to eat. You're not gonna have a hard time keeping up with the diet if you have someone doing it for you. So everybody did not have a live-in nanny to do that. So the next step is to buy like meal plans, because that's the only one that can be consistent for you. Again, just that your meals are there, because you miss 1 or 2 meals, it can throw you right off. So with that being said, I had the luxury of having that done, and I was able to drop the weight. I went from 306 to about just over 250. The problem, and I'm sure many people in here have this story, is I started this in the fall, and the results came towards spring. You're feeling good about yourself, you start slacking off. You don't stay focused. You're like, you know what, I could take Monday off, because you feel good about yourself. You know, Monday turns into 2 days, and then suddenly you're rebounding. And that's exactly what happened to me. So I shot right back. I didn't go up to 306, but I went up to like the 280 range. And I just found since 2016 till this recent, since the pandemic, nothing changed. I tried the diets and it never worked. I've shared the story online openly. Back in 2019, December 30th, the day before New Year's, I had a mild heart attack in my sleep. And that was the big, you know, when people hear me talk about why I've given up drinking and different things that I've done, I think everybody has different reasons and a time in life where you just start looking at things. And for me, I got to be honest, up until that point, you know, that was December 30th. So, you know, Christmas and boxing, I had my party at Boxing Day. It was the typical stuff. You know, I'm a guy that loved to drink and buy out the bar and pop the bottles and have fun. And we did. But at 50 years old, going on 50, you know, your body just at some point is going to give up. And I think that's what happened with my body. Like, I wasn't taking care of myself. And it was a very big wake up call for me, because I didn't know I had this heart attack. I just felt funny for about a day after. And then I'm a guy that reacts quick. So I went and got checked out, and they admitted me right away and said, oh no, you had a heart attack in your sleep. And if you do any, like you could have a massive heart attack right now. So that I was admitted into the East Shore Hospital, Michael Garrett. And I spent a day there, and coming out of there was, you know, it was New Year's Eve. You know, I went to see my physician, and I've been up to date with my annual physician medical checks, but we did a thorough check, and then another scare came, because I had never had to deal with myself, but my doctor has a rule, and I think it's a very common rule with a lot of doctors. What they say is, we don't call you unless something's wrong. So my doctor called me, and he's a personal friend. I've been going to him for over 30 years. He said, I need you to come in. And, you know, I go, what's wrong? He goes, your blood work is off. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The blood work is off, and it's a concern. It's an elementary concern, but your blood work is off, and I'm concerned because it's the first sign of cancer. So it scared the shit out of me. So I definitely went in. And when I went in, he goes, you know, nothing to be scared of, but we're going to do some testing. And, you know, I had already done a colon test at that stage of my life already. So I understood what that is, because that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to send you in. So when they went in, everything was fine, but he did warn me. He goes, you know, last time you did it, there was no issues. You were clean. But just so you know, I don't know if everybody understands what polyps are from on your colon, and when they detect it, why it should be detected by a certain time. So it was explained to me that, you know, when you go in, you're going to sign a paper. If they find anything, they'll be able to remove it right there with laser treatment. So with me, they found 3 of them, and they removed them. And that again scared me mentally, because I was like, wow, like, is it come back in the same place? And then, you know, they said, no, it doesn't work like that. You know, it's something, once they do get rid of that. But the mistake that a lot of males make is a polyp has up to 5 years before it'll actually turn cancerous. And unfortunately, in certain cultures, you know, it's just it's a manly thing. Most men don't want to do it. So when you hit, like, when it becomes cancerous, you got a very small percentage of turning that around, versus in my case, it was dealt with. But when all this was said and done, I felt I was healthy. We're now in the pandemic, right? And I don't know about you guys, my lifestyle really changed because of this whole streaming online stuff. For 30 plus years, I go to a nightclub. Nightclubs usually are from 10 to 3 in the morning here in Toronto. And it's a typical, you know, situation. You know, the crowd, we wait till it, you know, because we're there from early. So we wait for the crowds to come in, and then we start partying with the crowd around 11, 12, and then you drink hard for about 2 hours. And then, end of the night, you go eat, you go do whatever you got to do. But it's the same routine that we've been doing for 30 years, 4 or 5 nights a week, that we're used to it. The pandemic hits now. We're in the luxury of our own homes, where you have your own bars at home. You don't have liquor prices that you're used to in the club. You're at home. And for those of you that did follow me on streaming, I got caught up in that stuff like a lot of people. Like we weren't like we were at the nightclub for 4 or 5 hours. I was doing 10, 12 hours, sometimes every day, like weeks, while drinking. So my health was even getting worse, and I was putting on weight again, because now you're drunk. We're drinking to the point where we're not used to it anymore. The turnaround time, like for 30 years, I could drink till 5 in the morning and be up at 7. I'm functioning normal because I'm used to doing it for 30 years. But when I drink for 10 hours and then think I'm going to do that the next day, it started catching up with me. And I got to be honest, I think it put pressure on my family and my wife, because we've been together for 15 years, but like everybody else, for 15 years, we had routines. We were never together all day long. Suddenly now we're at home, and I decide I want to go stream, and it's not for 2 hours. It's for like 6 hours, 8 hours. And in that 6 to 8 hours, I'm cracking 2 bottles. And when I'm done, I'm hammered. That puts pressure on your relationship at home with young kids. I don't know about everybody else here, but I know I can speak out of experience. And I openly talk about it because our relationship was going downhill. And at some point, you got to realize you got to make a change in life. But unfortunately, I didn't see it. Continued. Whoever's there, just mute your microphone, please. Or can I do that? Can we mute everybody for now or no? Anyways.
You can mute everybody.
How do I do that? Oh, there it is. Mute all. Does that mute me? Oh, it says mute me. Okay, that's not that bad. Anyways, we fast forward, like things didn't change. It was getting bad. And I'm going to share a story. My last drunk was in November of 2020. And it was a typical situation. It was when things started opening up, where clubs weren't open, but restaurants were taking bookings where you could sit in the restaurant. So my wife and her girlfriends decided on a Saturday, typical stuff. I usually stream at around 5 o'clock. The girls are going to come over and have pre-drinks with us. And I told a couple of my boys to come on over. We'll drink while I play before. And then afterwards, we'll do our usual drinks, have smokes and all that stuff, play poker. But because they came over and everyone was excited, we were doing shots at around 3 o'clock. I don't go on till 5. So when I went on at 5, we're all feeling nice. They're still here. And we play, and I'm playing. And then my boys, these are 2 of my boys. They've been the groomsmen in my wedding party. I've been in their wedding parties. They know me well. They've been around me for 35 years. One of the guys says to my boy, who wasn't drinking because he was the driver and he works for TTC, so he was working the next day. At around 7 o'clock, he was. I only heard this afterwards because I don't remember none of this. They're looking at me and he's saying, "Hey man, what's wrong with this guy? Like, we got to get him off air because I'm online right now." And I was so hammered that I didn't know. I had no clue. So what my friend did, my 2 kids were here. My wife left me with the kids, even though my boys are here. I'm responsible for my kids. So he decided, because of the state I was in, to take my kids and go put them in their rooms, because bedtime was coming up in an hour anyways. So when he did that, apparently now I'm in the living room. They got me off air. I throw up in my living room. So they're now calling my wife, who's, I'm on my way home, and she comes home. Long story short, I go to bed. Because I went to bed at 9 o'clock. When I woke up at like 3, 4 in the morning, after getting 6, 7 hours of sleep, like that's like a full night of 24 hours for some people. So when I wake up, I'm hungover. It's 4 or 5 in the morning. I shower. I think it's normal. We're having our usual breakfast on Sunday morning, and my wife just looked at me to say, "How you feeling?" In a good way, like she wasn't mad or anything. You remember what happened last night? And I said, "Yeah, I know. I was probably hammered because I'm looking at the table. There's 3 bottles of El Dorado empty. So we had a good night." She goes, "Only thing I'm disappointed is one thing." She goes, our kids are 7 and 8 years old right now, and we feel we've we've been amazing parents to them. And when it comes to being responsible, we're very responsible in taking care of them. But, you know, for when she left, I was responsible for those kids, but I was hammered, so I wasn't responsible. Lucky my friends were here and they took care of them. So this is at our same table I'm sitting at right now on a Sunday morning for breakfast. And you know, what I've been sharing with people, you got to hit a rock bottom. Everyone's different. And for you guys, you see, I share my life openly online, and I'm proud of it. I do it for different reasons. Well, yeah, it promotes yourself and your brand, but I also do it to share it with my family that on other parts of the world, so they get this. It's like they're growing up with us, right? But when she said that, it was my rock bottom because it was embarrassing. I was like, I let my family down, and I just looked at her and said, you know what? I'm gonna stop drinking. So I've stopped drinking for 3-4 months when I'm training, but I looked at her and said, no, I'm gonna stop drinking because this can never happen again. Like it can never happen again, period. For me anyways, as a man, I can never, if I'm alive, that will never come out of my wife's mouth again, period. I know for 99% of the people around me, my immediate crew, and they've openly told me this, they were like, ah, don't worry, you know, Christmas will come, you'll be back drinking again, blah, 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 right? But in my mind, that was my rock bottom because my wife and my kids are my everything. That was the first step, I think, of what's got me to where I'm at now because I've stuck it out. It's been 2 years and 4 months. I keep track of it on a daily basis because I'm proud of it. I haven't had a drop. I haven't cheated. I don't have to prove it to anybody. I just know what I've done, and I'm very proud of it. But as that was happening, I started looking at my physical situation. I realized, you know, I'm out of shape. And I'm a guy that used to be in shape. I understand what it's to be in shape. Majority of my life, the first part of my life, I'm an athletic guy. Like I got a scholarship to go play football if I wanted to go play football out of high school. So I understand what it takes to be in shape. And I haven't been doing anything to take care of myself. And I already had a health scare with a mild heart attack. You know, you got to look at yourself in the mirror sometimes. And I feel over the years when you go to these gyms, you know, at the end of the day, they just want our money. That's what they want. They don't care about us. They just want your money. And I'm a victim of it, where I finally said, I'm not going to a trainer. I'm not going to a gym. Just like I looked at myself in the mirror about no drinking, I got to look at myself about and start studying what are people doing out there when you see, because you see a lot of people that you might not know. Like, and I tell you, when I saw the transformation of somebody here, I asked them. And then when they told me, then I asked my trainer, and that's what they kind of introduced me to what I've kind of started looking at is at the end of the day, it ain't no secret. Like, I think when we looked at our health situations, whether it's liquor or whether it's food, it comes down to what you're putting in your body. Like, I don't think you need to go to a personal trainer for them to tell you that. Like, I think we're all grown-ups here. Like, you know, I think majority of the people that are part of these groups here today are well over into their 40s that at that stage of our life, man, we know what we're eating is good and we know what's bad. And it comes down to you to just looking at yourself to say, okay, how do I change this? So I started just studying different ways at looking at what I should do with myself. I looked at fasting. I looked at going back on a diet. I looked at the keto stuff. And I said, you know, at the end of the day, every one of those programs is still not a long-term story that's for a whole society. You hear of 1 and 2 one-offs because some people are strong-minded and they can do it. But as a society, you know, the question I always ask people, so this is what someone asked me, and, you know, I had to think about it because I don't have the typical story. I'm blessed. I did not grow up poor. My parents were well off. So I grew up having a breakfast every morning in my life. I was taught that, a good breakfast. So that's all I've been taught. But someone asked me, they go, you know, if you, and I think in here we have enough of a, guys, can you go do that in the other room, please? My wife is cutting my son's toenails in front of me. Anyways, they asked me a question. I'm going to ask everybody in here, just kind of think about this for a second. If you were to ask your parents, your grandparents, were they having breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert as a lifestyle on a regular? Because I know when I thought about it, I did because my parents did well. But when I think about my grandparents, when they were in my father's from Nairobi in Kenya, and I've heard the stories how they sometimes, like, for anybody that's East Indian, like they lived on dal and rice because meat was too expensive, chicken was too, like, that's what they ate, lentils and rice. You know, when you hear that story, you think about it, then you think back 50, 60 years ago, the quality of food that they were eating compared to what we're eating. It's, I'm not a professional. Everything I'm saying today, I'm not no professional in this. I'm not a scientist, but I'm just using common sense. I want to go on record to say, I think that food was probably a lot better 50, 60 years ago. So when you put a good quality of food in you, and they weren't eating 3 full meals a day, have you noticed a lot of that generation still alive and pretty healthy? Like, how many of our grandparents are living healthy lives at 70, 80, even 90 years old? Like, is that a secret, or is that the type of, like, it goes back to like common sense. Like, if you keep putting processed food in your body, well, then, hey, your days are numbered. I don't know if you're going to see 90 to 100 years old. So with that being said, you know, I looked, so they gave me that example. Then they said, you know, think about what you're eating. You know, when we diet, you have a cheat day, right? The cheat day doesn't work. Because if it worked, we'd have the craziest formula that works. It doesn't work. It doesn't work long term. It hasn't worked for anybody. I don't, unless someone can correct me in here. Like, I know it hasn't worked for me, and I'm a guy that's done it so many times. So I started studying it, and I looked, and I looked at these different programs that are out there. And you know what I realized was, like, how do I look at a program where I can change the way I eat? Like, that's really what it came down to. Well, what am I going to do to look at what can I eat? I don't want to be a guy that just wants to eat clean vegetables all the time. I like to enjoy my food. So it goes back to that original situation. Like, you don't think our grandparents enjoyed good food every so often as a treat, as a reward, because they could afford suddenly to have something nice? Meanwhile, they were just putting good food in their body. So one thing I have been watching, I've watched 3 people around me. So one of my friends, Isa, who's a personal trainer, very successful in that business. In fact, you're going to hear a lot about him because Drake's personal trainer that he's been pushing online, Big Mike, works for Isa. Like, so he's in that celebrity circle with people. And I totally forgot Isa was in my wedding party. Isa's been he's a practicing Muslim now, where he's become very religious in life in his 50s, and like going to Mecca and stuff like that. But I forgot, and he's still in shape in his 50s. Anybody that might know Isa in here, like, he's ridiculous. I've posted pictures of him after this just for you guys. I'll post a joke picture, but that picture, if you see, that's all muscular at my wedding, that's Isa. I forgot Isa's been fasting for the last 7 years. This is a guy that works out at 5 in the morning and doesn't have a meal till 6 at night. And I knew he was doing it, and I used to laugh and think he's crazy, because he told me about this when I started losing weight 7 years ago. The first time, he actually told me back then, you need to start fasting. And I was like, oh, hell no, because see, I've been brought up a different way. I've been taught that breakfast is important. You know, think about your grocery stores. We're all old enough here. When you went to the grocery store, it was back in the 80s. Did they have a full aisle of potato chips? Did they have a full aisle of chocolates and candies? You know, it's a taught behavior because it's a moneymaker. Do you think a company wants to hear? Do you think Tim Hortons wants this meeting to happen right now? With the drive, we didn't have drive-throughs when we were growing up. There was no drive-throughs. There was no Tim Horton drive-throughs. Look at Tim Hortons in the morning. Every single corner is packed. There's a lineup at every single one of them. Our parents weren't doing that. That's a taught behavior. That's what society is teaching to spend your money, because it's all about making money, and you're unhealthy. You know, when you look at all the pills that we're taking, and I've been on blood pressure pills for 13 years, and I was told I was going to be on them for the rest of my life. I would never think I was coming off my blood pressure pills. simple change in my diet by just cutting out foods and learning how to cut down. Like I basically, the secret here is I basically just cut out my breakfast. I haven't been to a gym. I've been to the gym once in 5 months. I'm doing the old school little push-ups in the morning for 15 minutes, 100 push-ups, breaking them down 10 at a time, like calisthenic workouts at home. And the changes I'm seeing is ridiculous. Now, the challenge I was having was when I started doing this, I felt I wasn't, like the hunger was kicking in. Like I needed to find what can I take to help me, because a guy that's used to eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, and enjoying desserts to like trying to cut out one meal, it was hard. And there's a lot of drugs out there. Like they got a drug called Ozempic that's been designed for diabetics. That's proven. A benefit of Ozempic is you have weight loss, but it's a prescribed drug. It costs $300 to $500 to get, but it's a drug. I don't want a drug. I've cut liquor out of my life. I've been drugging myself with alcohol for 35 years. I don't want to go backwards. So I took the time and just kept studying to find there is natural products out there. So my business partner is Dwayne Rosario. For those of you who don't know, he's the biggest Canadian soccer player in the history of Canada. And I forgot about him, because when I started talking to him, I said, because he's a vegan and he fasts. And I was like, Dero, when you fast, what do you do? He goes, dude, he sent me a link, and you guys are, everything I'm saying, I'm not a professional, just for the record. I'm not in this business. I'm just sharing my story on the research I've done. Dero said, if you look up the Argentinian soccer team that won the World Cup, there's a leaf that only is produced and grown in Paraguay, and it's called yerba mate. It's a suppressant for sugar. And that's basically what they gave to if you Google that, they brought 1,000 pounds of yerba mate to Qatar with the Argentinian team that won the World Cup. Every single player on the team was taking that product. So when he told me that, I was like, oh, okay, so yerba mate. So I looked it up. Oh, on Amazon, you can get yerba mate leaf. Like, it's available. You can buy it, like it's available. It's not a secret. And when you look it up, it tells you it's a replacement for caffeine. So it's giving you energy, but it's natural and it works. And the biggest benefit it has, it's suppressing. So when we go back to when we talk about breakfast, because like I said, so my secret is I've cut my breakfast out. So for 5 months, I haven't had breakfast. Mentally before, that's when you have sugar, it's a mental decision that we've been taught. It's an addiction that society's taught us, and all of us are guilty of it. And there's nothing we can do. It's just what they do when they push. That, yeah, maybe I go for 2 weeks and I can do it, but then no, I gotta have a bagel. I gotta do this. I want a bacon sandwich or something, right? The yerba mate is now a chemical, just like Ozempic is a drug that chemically is changing the way your brain thinks. We are mentally making those decisions because we're taught that behavior. We're taught that addiction of having sugars. The yerba mate is chemically working. So if I'm a guy that used to like to have 2 Big Macs, I have the money to buy the 3rd one. I just can't do it. I'm full, right? My body's telling me I can't take the 3rd Big Mac. The yerba mate is letting you just have the 1 Big Mac because you're full already. So I just was doing my research, and anybody in here is maybe because I don't know if there's a way of how I can see who's in agreement. How many people in here over the years at some point got a personal trainer, did a meal plan, bought protein powders, meal supplements? I can't tell. Is there a way to do that in here, Kieran, where I can see what people's answers are?
Yeah, if the people want to use the reaction, put a thumbs up. If you click on the little button that says reactions.
Oh, yeah, okay,
or
perfect. So I see the hands over, the thumbs up. Yeah, so like how many people have done that? How many people have, and personal trainer, like I tell my story, like Granville, I openly say this to people. Granville at Athletic Leaders is a magician if you listen to this guy. But Granville costs $100 a session. So when I lost 50 pounds, I was paying I used to go 3 days a week. So I was paying him $1,200 a month. And the way that world works is I had to pay the 3 months up front. So I had to give him $3,600 for the 3 months. He put me on a meal plan. So our grocery bill had to go up because we're now buying more protein, loading up on the chicken and fish. So the grocery bill went up. I had to go buy that 5-pounder of diesel whey protein that costs $120 and some vitamins and stuff like that. That when it was all said and done, I was spending over $2,500 each month. It cost me over $7,500 and I got in shape. So it cost me $7,500 to do it. And the end result was within 6 months, I put half that weight back on because I couldn't continue to spend that kind of money. And I felt too good about myself. So I started getting lazy and I put the weight back on. And typically what happens, you kind of do the cycle all over again. But my point is, anybody that's in here that put their hand up, you all know what I'm talking about. When you go on these programs, you got to spend money. So when I was starting to do my research and I started seeing out there, I started seeing a very common product that was natural. And I said, I thought it was a gimmick because I was like they're talking for a couple $100. I'm looking, I can get this yerba mate and all these, like the things that I was hearing online and researching. Then I made the call to my doctor and I asked them, I said, this yerba mate that they're talking about, is this real? Because I've never heard of it, right? I'm not a tea drinker. I'm not a coffee drinker. So, I'm not big on that world. Because no, yerba mate is a great product. It's a great product. He goes, it's natural. It will suppress. He goes, it's one of the biggest kept secrets for people that are coffee drinkers. It'll help get somebody off coffee instantly. It works instantly. So I was like, okay, where do I get it? He goes, well, no, he goes, even better. There's a company out there that they've designed a program that is been designed for diabetics. It's been around for 40 years. And they're basically piggybacking the drug company Ozempic because Ozempic is a drug. Ozempic, that company, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's all over the TV right now. Ozempic was just approved in Canada 3 weeks ago by Health Canada. Prior to that, Israel and it's either Russia or something like that got it approved about 2 years ago. America got approved back in November. So when you see this commercial Ozempic, they're a $300 billion company that's been around for 40 years. And it works. It's designed for diabetics, but the benefits it has is weight loss. It helps because it's dealing with your blood sugar levels, your cholesterol levels, and your heart. Those are all the benefits of it. So they've been trying for years to get it approved for weight loss. And that's what it just got approved for in all those places, including Canada. So you're seeing these ads everywhere. But if you go to the Ozempic website, the disclaimer is not a small disclaimer. It's big and bold as one of the major side effects that it may cause cancer. So what naturally people are going to do, because they know the product works, they do what I did. They start researching to see what's a natural way to suppress your addiction to sugar. And there's a company that's been around for 40 years that's doing what Ozempic is doing, but they're just doing it the natural way. And they're not trying to, they're $1 billion company. They're not worth 300 billion, but they're a successful business and it works. The cost of that product is $165 a month. I've been on it for 5 months. Like and that's why I say it's crazy when I see people, like I was at Scratch's party and they were like, oh man, because they all know Granville. Granville grew up with Scratch. They're like, oh man, Granville's, I'm like, something, it's not Granville. This is not Granville. This cost me like under $200. Granville, that would have been 2 visits. And I go, I'm eating whatever I want to eat. I don't know if Teddy's still in here. Teddy's a guy that's around me. Like Teddy, like I did Teddy's New Year's Eve party, and at the time he didn't know what I was on, and I played for 5.5 hours at Teddy's party, and it was at his house. It was also Teddy's birthday is December 31st, so I was going there to play New Year's Eve and his birthday, and so it's his house. He had the spread all there, and he saw Teddy. Are you here? I don't even know if Teddy's still here because I know he's got a busy schedule with his kids' hockey and stuff like that. But if Teddy's not here,
I'm here.
oh, perfect. Teddy will tell you this. I don't know if Teddy will remember this. Before I played, my wife was getting food for the kids because my kids were there with my wife, and I brought a plate over. And I actually remember, like I think I might have put 2-3 shrimp on there, 3 of the Filipino spring rolls they call lumpia, maybe 3, 4 of them. And I brought that to the DJ table. And I know he's probably looking at me like, what's this guy doing? Like, what's this guy doing? Because he knows there's no other DJ there with me. I'm going to be playing for like 4 or 5 hours. And that's all I had. And then when we were finished, I had a drink and I had 2, 3 lumpia and I was done. And I wasn't hungry. But when people see me, they're like, oh man, Granville's got you on that. I go, no, Granville does not have me on no program. It's been so easy because you know what I've done? I've cut out a meal. Do you know that we all fast and you don't even realize it? On average, is it safe to say everybody in here gets at least 6 hours of sleep a day? Put a hand up for me if you agree with me. Like you get at least 6 hours a day on average. When you're sleeping for 6 hours, does your body tell you to wake up to eat? Like think about that for a second. You sleep for 6 hours with no food. If you go from 12 to 6, unless you're in a busy job, at some point you're probably dipping into something, having a drink or doing something. For 6 hours when you sleep, you don't do nothing. You put nothing in your body. So you're actually fasting. So yerba mate, that extends your fast. So all I'm doing in the morning, I have a drink. It tastes like creamsicle. I put it in my tea and I drink it like a tea. And what it's doing, it's giving me a natural feel to take away the addiction for sugar that your brain wants to do, and it's extending my fast. And I don't eat nothing. I might have a fruit the odd time, and I don't even do that anymore. Like there's no secret to what I'm doing. I'm learning how to fast, and I'm using a product to do it right now. I'm not ready to come off it, but what they hope is no different than drinking. I think I'm going to do a separate thing about that because I'm not here to preach to you guys that you need to stop drinking and I want you to see you be sober like me. That's not what this is about. But what I want to share around what I'm saying is by me quitting drinking, my mind was strong. So I think this is easier for me because I've already dealt with an addiction of drinking. And for the record, I just want to be clear here. I was not an alcoholic and I didn't have a drinking problem. I was a heavy social drinker. And the COVID era just changed it all because I was a social drinker for 2, 3 hours an event, not for 10 hours a day streaming. So because my mind is strong, I've gotten over that and I'm okay now. Like I'm at the point now, and like I know there's some people in here. I openly say to guys, drink. Like Teddy came to my house for the first time on the weekend. And I pulled out bottles of El Dorado. I posted the picture purposely because I'm not trying to, you're in my house, man. Do it. We've moved no liquor in my house since I stopped drinking. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it because I don't need it. I'm strong. I don't need it. But I'm not strong yet. I need the assistance of this natural herb to help me till I get to a point where I realize this is a lifestyle where I can do like D-Row, my business partner, is doing. Because until I've been going through this for the last 5 months, I never understood what D was doing. I used to laugh. I'd be like, okay, well, fuck, if you don't want to have a steak, I am. You sit there and have your little salad and stuff like that. I'm having a steak. I'm having my baked potato. So, the story I'm sharing is if you want to know the secret, don't fall for all that diet stuff right now, man. Stuff don't work. That's just a big money grab. It's something our society's taught us. Where that stuff will come into play. So where I'm going to jump in and say, I know for me, like I dropped 41 pounds. I don't even have a scale in my house. When someone asks, well, how much you lost? I went over to the clinic by my house where I go sometimes last minute during COVID. I say, man, can I stand on your scale for a sec? And I've already know I've lost weight because of my clothes and how I look and how I feel. But when I saw that, I was like, wow, I had California sandwiches today. I had California sandwich with cheese, because I'm not intaking the amount of food because I'm basically going for like anywhere from 14 to 16 hours of fasting and not feeling a thing at all. So I'm not here to sell anything to you guys. Like I don't make no money on this product. I'm just sharing what I'm doing. I'm not spending no money on a big training. Now, what I will be doing, I'm about to, on my own now, I'm going to add that training now because I know how to do it and I feel good. I want to do it now because for the first time in my life, it's hard to show you. I could take my shirt off, but I think some people might feel uncomfortable. But for the first time, I'm actually in probably 10, 15 years because muscle has memory, right? Because I've dropped so much weight. My muscles are soft, but I'm actually seeing my muscle again that I know I have. And muscle has memory. So I'm almost now I want to go to the gym because I know my muscles are going to pop and I'm going to feel good about it because now my muscles are going to be used again. And it's just going to make my appearance look even better. So I'm going to add that now that you don't need to do it. You know, the best thing that someone told me when I first started this, I found a company that I felt comfortable with, and that's the one I'm talking about. It's because again, you can get Uber Mate for $10 on Amazon, but you got to boil it for 20 minutes. If you want to do that, like I'm not again, you don't have to take what we're taking. You can go buy Uber Mate and do it yourself. But can you do that every morning for 20 minutes? Like, you know, just the way our lifestyle is and our society is got us moving so fast. If you got kids, do you have 20 minutes to wait? You're going to probably miss 1 or 2 days. You can't miss when it comes to fasting. If you stay on it, I'm telling you, you're going to, you know what I've been telling my personal friends in my circle? I got a few guys around me that need the help. I've told them, I said, man, you know, I've made some guys millionaires in my life, but the kind of money I've made them invest in rental income properties, I said, man, I'm telling you, trust me on this. Instead of going to spend the $2,500 that I know will work for you, that'll be short term, it's not going to be forever. I'm telling you, go spend $200 on something. That's something we spend more on a bottle when we go to the club or on dinner we go to. I get nothing out of this. I'm trying to help you get better so you can get to the place I'm at, how I feel. I can't tell you, like my skin feels better. My wife, I'm not trying to sound corny or shit like that, but my wife is looking at me different because I feel healthy. My energy's better. Confidence level is better. For $200, if I lead you wrong, never take advice from me again. Period. That's like, no, that's kind of like what I've been telling my inner circle. I can't be any more real with them to say it works. And it's going to teach you. If you had asked me back, so I started this right after my birthday. If you were to tell me I would never want to have breakfast again, I would have thought you were crazy. If you had told me I can do what I eat everything, I have whatever I want, but your body's not taking it. Anybody that understands fasting, if you just do your own study on it, the first 12 hours, you're not going to make no change other than you're going to get healthy. But that 12 to 16 hour period, or if you can go a bit longer, and with the product I'm taking, I can go longer. I have an app that I keep. Before I leave, I'll tell you guys, try it. You know, it's a free app, but the real change happens for weight loss in that 12 to 16 hour period. It really does happen because that's what's happening to me. So you can eat whatever you want because the calories you're putting in is not enough. Like, you know, you're almost emptying out you need the tank to be totally empty for the process to work. But the way we've been taught, you keep putting food back into your system. You keep like, get rid of snacks. Like, you know, it's completely opposite to what I know what works, but it's not long-term. You know, have your small meals and then have a little snack in between. You're not giving your body a chance to start and utilize, like, you know, again, I'm learning so much from this and I hope to learn more. I don't know the medical terms, but what happens is your body, when you eat something, your body just takes what it can take for the nutrition it needs. And then the sugars and your fats get stored. They move on to different parts of your body. And if you keep throwing that in your body, it's just going to continue to store itself. But if you prolong that because you're fasting and it's healthy, when you're putting that food in, because you have nothing left in the tank, it's using all the nutrients up. But then what's happening, some of your body takes some of that fat, the natural fat and sugars, and converts it into good nutrition for yourself. But you're not giving yourself a chance to do that when you always have something in the tank, because your tank's got to be empty. The fasting will do that for you. With that, you know, when I was a kid, again, like I said, if anybody's been around my kids, you'll see I have no problems with my kids eating everything. My kids eat everything. When it comes to vegetables, we never had that problem because growing up, that's the way I was brought up. I never forget it. And I did it the first time here. And it caused a little conflict with me and my wife because there was I'm going to use an example. I can't even remember what, but maybe there was broccoli there. My son wasn't eating it. I went to grab the plate, take it away, like my dad did to me. And, you know, my son was quick to get up and say, no, you sit down, you stay here. You're going to watch us eat. And I know he's going to be hungry later because he doesn't like it, but he's going to be hungry and he ain't getting no food. He's going to wait till the morning. That's how I was brought up. Got some conflict from my wife and she didn't agree. The timing of it was amazing because in 2 weeks, after that, we were going to see our pediatrician. I said, you know what? You're right. I actually don't know. Maybe what my parents did was wrong. We go in there, Dr. Frasa, Lover, what's her name? Frasca, whatever her name was, our first pediatrician. We walked in and I said to her, I want to ask you a question, doc. And before we could finish, she probably gets this asked all the time, but I would basically ask her, I take my kid's food away from him. Am I actually harming my kid by doing that? And she stopped. She goes, sir, okay, I'm assuming it's you, not your husband. So she looked at Nadia and she said, you know, first of all, I'm going to tell you on record what your husband's doing. You're going to thank him. But I'm telling you for the record, the mistake that most people think, because again, people make all these judgments, but they're not professionals. My pediatrician clearly said that it's actually a mistake when you overfeed your kids. Your kids don't get a chance to develop. And half the food you're giving them is not good. So you're actually putting garbage in them. It's okay. That kid could survive for 24 hours with no food. Well, my kids eat everything right now. But because she said that, my wife was okay with it. So we did the same thing with my daughter. And they both eat everything. We don't have that problem. We don't have, you're not going to see, no, we don't eat. No, we eat everything. You know, you like, I have a little inside joke here. You know, I'm the boss. My wife is the boss. When you become a boss, when you have your own house, you have your own bank account, you decide what you eat. Well, in our house, my son's laughing right now because he hears me, because he knows the story. Come say hi real quick. Just but I'm just saying, on a serious note, it's all about making the right decision. That's my story in a nutshell. There's a lot of details in between there that I have no problem with sharing. My real reason for doing this, I wasn't supposed to say his name, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's Issa. If it wasn't for Issa telling me this, I wouldn't have done this right now. And Issa didn't take a dime from me. He didn't ask for nothing from me. He was just like, Lois, I got to help you because you've been in my system. I know you like Granville and you've been there. I got to help you at this stage, man. You've had the red flag in front of your face too many times. So you got to trust me, and I trust him. And it's probably one of the best decisions I trusted with somebody that's around the health business, because he's right. There's no secret. I'm not doing nothing else. Like, I'm spending, you know, if you look at, I use diesel, the product diesel for my whey protein. That's $120 a month. You know, the fibers, this thing has 7 fibers that you can't put in your mouth in a meal. If you were to go buy those pills individually, you'd be spending about $15 for each fiber. So the money you would spend to go do it naturally anyways is more than what I'm actually spending right now to do what I'm doing. And people think I'm spending thousands of dollars because they assume on my lifestyle that I got these trainers, or I'm with Shaq's trainer or Lennox's trainer. I was with Lennox last night for the Super Bowl. We sat together at my boy Ray's house, and he just looked at me and he goes, I don't, because I was sitting there eating Sour Patch Kids. He's like, I don't understand, bro. I go, see, because he's old school, right? He came up in this old school, let's go run at 4 a.m. and get that cold breeze. I'm not doing none of that, man. There's no cardio. You know, no disrespect to anybody in here, but come on, man. We all been to the gym. We all had memberships at gyms at different levels, right? And how many times have you sat there and you saw that one person that's oversized, they're doing cardio for an hour and they're sweating and going crazy, and there's never any change. You don't need to do all that to lose weight. You know, the final thing I'll tell everybody, I'm being weaned off my blood pressure pills. I didn't do this. Issa didn't put me on this for my blood pressure pills. I'm being weaned off my blood pressure pills right now. Like, there's so many benefits, and I've done nothing. I'm buying something that I spend more money on a dinner. That's the secret. So that's kind of my story. I don't want to waste too many people's time. Like, my goal is to help one person. I just want to see one person join me on this. I want 5 months from now, I want someone else being like, man, I had no clue about this. And maybe 5 months from now, there'll be more to the story to add, that maybe in the group there, like, to make it even better. Because I'm not a professional. I'm just telling you what I've done. It's people around me thinking I got this crazy program. I don't. I'm simply, one thing Issa told me, just cut your meal in half when you take the supplements, because the supplements, you're not gonna need all that food. Just cut it in half. Imagine that today, my sandwich cost me $14, okay? So I went for lunch because my boy Rick Mahorn was in town. So I took him down to California Sandwiches. I had half at lunch and I just had half before I came on here. Like my daily routine, I would spend probably $30, $40 when I'm out and about on food between 2 meals. Cost me 14 bucks and is my meal for the day. You know, my wife didn't want to tell me, but she said our grocery bill went down by almost 100 to 125 a week. So we're saving on groceries because I remember I'm an entrepreneur, so I work from home a lot. So my breakfast and my lunch, so if there's 14 for the week, right? Let's pretend maybe I have 10 at home. We've erased 10, and we don't eat cheap. I enjoy food. So 10 meals have been erased from our grocery bill. So the savings on one side compared to what I'm doing, all I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not here to sell this to you guys. I'm just saying if you guys are stuck or you're in the same boat as I was, or what I don't hope for you guys, I don't want you guys to have a mild heart attack. I don't want you guys to feel that your family's looking at you in a bad way because you're not disciplined. I feel when you make this change, and it's showing in everything I do right now. Like my focus is just so much better. Another thing that it was confirmed by me because I wasn't sure, so I was able to speak to somebody that has a background in this. You know, at the end of the day, when you're doing this fasting and you're watching what you're eating, and because we're using a product to take away that addiction of sugar, you know, your mind, we all have brain fog. Like your mind's busy, man. We live in a society, we're busy. If you have family, like you're just always moving, you're always thinking, right? By doing this, you're actually, you know, again, you know, these people that do these cleanses, do you think by cleansing, like by going on some juice cleanse for 7 days, like that's going to change what you were doing for 30 years? But society has taught you to think that that's normal and it works. It doesn't work because look at all of us. We've all tried that stuff. It doesn't work. When you're cleansing your body the way, like you're cleansing your body naturally this way. When you cleanse your body, that's why you're losing the weight because you've gotten rid of all the garbage. But you know, your mind is clear now. You think better. And what's funny is music right now, for the people who are into the music world, I've had people tell me, they go, man, you know, when you play music right now, your energy is different. And it comes through your music. And I go, you know what? You're right. I do. But I know why now. I understand why. Because my brain's clear. I'm in a different mindset. And it works. So that's where I kind of want to, if you guys have questions, man, let's open it up. I don't want to keep everybody here too long. And just kind of think about it. And
there are a couple of questions that have come up. One is, what was the product? And the other was, where do you get it and what's the name?
so they're a company called Unicity. They're online, like on Amazon. If you go on Amazon, it's like, and it can range anywhere from like $250 to $400 for the product. There's other product, like I said, Ozempic is a drug that's out there. But again, I'm just telling you, like, do your own research. Like, I'm not trying to tell you guys to buy this. Like, I'll tell you what I've been buying. I'll give you a link, you can buy it, whatever. I don't even care. I'm just trying to tell you what works for me. But go do your research. So there's Ozempic that does similar stuff. Ozempic is anywhere from $300 to $500 a month, but it clearly states on their website, on their homepage in bold letters, that it's cancerous. It may cause cancer. I don't think they put that on their website if that wasn't a big issue. I think they probably had enough lawsuits that they say, you know, let's just come out and tell people, even though it works, they're playing a numbers game because they're a $300 billion business. That's what I've been taking. You can go and get Yuba Mate on your own online, but you're not going to get like what I don't. It's in the kitchen. I could show like in the morning, I hot water. I put this. It's a lemon flavored tea, and I sip on it. That's what's extending my fast. So it takes me to lunchtime. And what I do, be 15 minutes before, they have another product they call Balance. I take the Balance. That's got the 7 fibers in it. And basically just it's giving you a natural feeling that you're filled, so you won't take in as much food, or you won't have the addiction to have more food. And then I take another one for my second meal, and that's it. Now, what I've been experimenting with now, because I love the results, and I feel like sometimes, like some days I can go till 2, 3 o'clock. So I try and extend it as much as I can. I don't wait till I'm starving. I just, okay, I gave myself an extra 2 hours for the fasting to do its work. So it's a product I'm just taking to help assist the fasting because I believe in fasting now. I never did before. I didn't know about it. Can you, sorry, I can't read the question. Can you take it? If I click on it, will it open a question?
So one question was, is it a pill or a tea?
It's a powder. It's a powder. They have flavors. I've only tried one flavor. I like it. I'm taking like a lemon flavor. Almost has like a creamsicle taste to it. So
And
in the morning when I wake up, instead of having breakfast or my protein shake, just a tea, I throw that in there and I sip it like a tea.
then one of the other questions is, what time do you start eating and what time do you stop eating?
My schedule, I'm usually up at around 6 because of my kids, between 6 and 7. So that's when I have my, they call it yerba mate. That's the name of it. So I take that in the morning. The earliest I've ever eaten is like 12 o'clock. So that extends your fast. It's giving you enough nutrition to keep you going. I haven't done it yet, but when I do work out, I'm usually a morning guy. And like I said, I'm very close. I think within either next week or the week after, I'm going back to Granville. I'm going to pay my $100 a session because I want to make a complete transformation that I'm about to find out, because I've been told by a couple of guys I trust that are on this. These guys go and do full workouts during that, because I work out in the morning. So I'm about to find out if that's true, because I don't know if it's true right now. I do, when I tell you I work out, like, I don't know whoever in here, and it's a separate conversation. I'm gonna say it today as a test for you guys, but all I do is 100 push-ups. I do 100 body squats and 100 jumping jacks. I alternate the jumping jacks kind of every other day, and I might do a plank and kind of hold it out. I'm working out for about 15 minutes. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. You don't have to change anything right now. When I first started it, I didn't change anything. I was eating the same, and I wasn't drinking. I was told even, and I don't want to promote it this way because I don't want to promote it and say it's good for you, but you can actually take this while you're drinking. You will see some results, but if you really want to see the results, at the end of the day, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you got to change some things. Like, at some point, you got to just look in the mirror and man up, at the term I like to always use. You got to just look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it's time for me. If you really want to make the change, you got to make, some of it is in your mind. The product is only going to do so much. So what I've been telling people, don't change your diet right now. Like, so if Monday's pizza day or Saturday, whatever day that is, keep it pizza day. Just cut it in half, because the product will allow you to do that. So now you're going to get the taste of it, but it's going to be in your body. And the changes will start happening. And then as you start seeing the changes, that's when you decide. No one's going to tell you. I almost feel I want to do like what my friend Issa did with me. Issa talked to me twice about this in 5 months. And all he said to me, he saw when I was enjoying some food. He goes, Los, man, why don't you, is it going to hurt you if you just give that up for one day? Like, do you have to have, like, you do it every week? Take out 1 week. It wasn't that hard. After doing it for about 2 months, I took it out for 2 weeks. I'm only doing it twice a month now versus 4. I don't know how good you guys would. I'm not the greatest in grammar, but I'm amazing with numbers. And 50% of something being taken away, you're going to see a change, right? It's as simple as that. So if you're a guy that eats burgers, if you go to drive-thrus and have McDonald's every day, what I've suggested to people, have half the burger, half the fries. It don't have to be a diet pop. You can have your regular Coke, just have half of it. You're going to see good changes, because the drug, I don't like to call it a drug because it's a natural product, but whether it's Ozempic as a drug or it's Unicity as a natural product, that's going to be what you don't have to worry about, the nutritional side of it. You're going to get the right nutrition, and it's going to fill you up that you will only be able to eat half that burger. So still enjoy that taste. And as you start seeing the changes, start cleaning it up slowly. And that'll be a personal one-on, like, everyone's going to have a different situation for that.
So one of the questions that came up was, so your sequence is yerba mate first, and then
Yeah, yerba mate is yerba mate is when you wake up from your fast. So your fast starts when your natural fast is when you sleep. But what I've been doing is I wake up at 6, 7 in the morning. I have yerba mate. I don't have nothing else. take my regular vitamins that I take, that I've always been taking. I don't have my first meal till around 12, 1 o'clock. When you, well, you have been signed. What's that mean? Are you guys still here?
Yep.
I don't know what that was, but okay, you're all here. So it says something about I've been signed out, but we're all here, right?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So yerba mate, when I wake up, it gives me an extra 5-6 hours. Again, I can only tell you what it's done for me and everybody I know has taken it. I'm not going to say trust me, rather you try it and see for yourself. It will hold you off. Have your first meal, but before you have your first meal, they have a product called Balance. I take that. That's 15 minutes before, and that's basically the 7 fibers you're putting in your body that is typically filling you up, so that you don't have the urge to have a big meal. And then you do it again. Ideally, it'll work on 2. They say you can still have 3 meals, but I've never had the 3rd meal. There's no need for me to have it. I ate before I came on with you guys. I'm done. I will not eat again. The odd time I may have a fruit. And again, I was just doing it more for fibers. I'll have a pear or something like that if I really want to have it. And for those of you that smoke weed, because I'm a weed smoker, it's taken my munchies away. I smoke, like after this, I'm going to smoke with the guys, and I'll smoke my little 1 gram spliff. If you owe me, I come in the house, I'm fucking something up. Like I'm grabbing some chips or something. That's all gone. I don't have no, I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I don't have the urge to have munchies right now.
So yerba mate first thing in the morning, Unicity 15 minutes before you eat around noon, somewhere around noonish.
Yep. Mine
And
has been
then-
noon to 2, around noon to 2 for me.
And then
Dinner time.
like, does it do anything to make you go to the bathroom more? Does it affect your bowels or anything?
So,
That's one of the questions that
what-
came up from a
okay.
GI perspective.
So 100% your bowel movement is going to be better because you're putting 7 proper fibers into your body. What they're going to say, so we're all guilty of it, again, because we can't control that. We all have gut bacteria, all of us, just because we can't help it. That's just the type of foods that we're sold, right? There's a lot of processed stuff out there. What may happen for everybody, and this is to prove that you have bad gut bacteria in your body, when you start taking the Balance, the 15 minutes before your meal, those 7 fibers are the main things that are in there. You're overloading your body with fibers, with the garbage bacteria in your body, that you may find some sort of bloating happening. That means all you do is, and this is what they said. It didn't happen to me, but I know a couple of my friends that who are already on it, and it happened to them. On what they say is for about a 2 to 7 day period, it might take for your body to adjust, that you will just cut back one of the balances. So you only do your first one on your first meal after fasting, if that happens. And within 2 to 7 days, once the bloating is gone, you add the other one. And then at that point, your movements are amazing. Is that the answer to the question? Where do you see-
I think so. Anybody have any other questions? I know, Carlos, you were just at one point you were wanting to wrap it up. I don't know how much time you wanted to keep going.
It's up to you guys. I'm here. Like I got no rush. I just don't want to waste your guys' time. I just wanted to, like I said, I only have one goal. I would love to see one person have the same story as mine. And I'm giving you what's worked for me. Maybe you take it and you change it up. I'm just giving you what works. If you're having struggles, and again, there's so many. It's designed. If you're a type 1 diabetic, this will get you off that. That's what it's designed for. If you look up Unimosity, I always pronounce it wrong because
Unicity.
Unicity.
Unicity?
If you look it up, it's actually designed for diabetics, and it works. It's proven to work there. That's what it's
So
designed for. But the benefits it has, the side benefits, one is weight loss, one is your cholesterol level, one is your heart, your cardio side, and there was one other one I'm missing right. Oh, your sugar levels, obviously. I would tell anybody that's seriously thinking about this, do your own test, because measure your blood sugar before you take this product, and just watch for yourself. It'll happen instantly. Just monitor it for a week after you start taking the product, and just watch your sugar levels, how they change. In fact, go to your doctor. Go to your doctor. A friend of mine that's not in here, he's going to look at the recording, I'm assuming when we're done. He's actually went to his doctor today. I say, yeah, I'm not a salesperson here. I don't like, I'm just trying to share my story. I want to see everybody be in my situation. So go do your own research. Like there's no pressure here. This is about me just sharing so that when I'm out and about, I'm doing it this way versus trying to do the same conversation I had for almost an hour with every single person online in a text message or something.
Cool. So Carlos, if you can maybe drop the links and stuff into the WhatsApp chat at some point. And just to confirm that, so yerba mate, what Unicity sells is Unimate. Is that the
Yeah,
brand name that they?
that's right. Yerba mate is the leaf I'm telling you about. Go Google it and search it and do your research. And then Unicity has what's called Unimate. You know what's crazy? I've been taking it for so long. I should go look at the packet and read it because I don't even read it. I just take it.
Cool.
Unimate, there it is. Someone just put it in there, Unimate. Any questions or anybody want to say anything? And like I said, you know what? I'm going to tell you, like, I always tell people, man, you know, I don't know why, maybe it's my appearance over the years, my looks and, you know, the tats early in the days and just maybe people feeling intimidated for some reason. I always tell people, man, talk to someone first, man. Don't, you know, like don't pass judgment on somebody till you talk to them and let them just tell you their stories. Sometimes you'll have a different look on them, right? You know, I know that's been the great thing about the pandemic. The good thing that's come out is during my streams, I share stories all the time and they have a different outlook on me because the image gives them a bad image because they're too busy. Unfortunately, we live in a world where there's a higher percentage of people that are followers and will listen to other followers before they listen to the people that are actually doing good things. Because I've heard some crazy shit. I'm like, people are saying, yeah, no, he's doing this no, I'm doing this for me. That's why I'm so happy and so proud about it. I love that I'm going to be 53 years old and I'm literally feeling like I'm in my 20s and I have a bigger goal. Like I said, when I told people I'm going to give up drinking forever, I know majority of the people in my inner circle thought I was crazy. They don't think I'm crazy when I say, no, I'm trying to lose another 40, 50 pounds. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to say that I really transformed my life overall, not just physically, but mentally, because I've made so many mistakes in my life. And the biggest one was neglecting my family. So I'm just making up for it. While my family, like my kids don't know any better. They have a perfect life. I never had a perfect life. You know, I lost my father when I was 13. My dad was in jail. My dad was a prisoner. He was in Joyceville Pen, Kingston Pen, sorry. You know, my childhood is not the typical childhood that my kids only know a normal lifestyle. I don't think I could go to bed at night knowing I fucked that up and messed that up for my kids. I just couldn't. So that's like, you know, everyone's going to be in a different position. Your rock bottom is going to be different for everybody. That's mine. I'm openly sharing it. Maybe hearing it from you makes you think about your family or your somebody or you, like just you. Like for me, this here was me. The drinking was my family, but this here was like, no, I got to do this for me now because I quit the drinking. And like I said, in the industry, there is nobody like Scratcher, one of my best friends, and it was one of the best feelings when he came up and surprised me on my 1-year anniversary during my show. Him and my wife planned this. I had no clue, and he came to my house and surprised me because my act just by fluke of the calendar. The 1-year anniversary happened to be on a Sunday when I do 9 streams in a week. It's my favorite stream of the week, my slow music show. And at the end of my show, he showed up and end up playing on my set in my house and making a speech about it, saying that for him, he's probably the guy I party the most with. We've traveled the most together. You know, we're in the same lifestyle. And he openly said, he goes, I didn't believe you would do it, but I'm so proud of him. That's like the best, you can't get a better compliment than that. You know, so again, it's just like now I got that, but now it's for me. Like it's all about me because if I feel good, I'm just passing that on my kids. My kids see, like, my daughter keeps looking through the door because I talk like this on the phone. Like most of my I should be getting paid for this, but we got to pay it forward sometimes, man. We got to, life has been good for me, man. I'm not going to act like life's not good. Life's been amazing for me. I got the best life. I don't want to lose it now. So that's why I'm sharing it. It's again, I hope I can help one person, man. That's my goal.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for making time to bring everybody together. And
Kieran, like Kieran, man, thank you. Because like I said, he reached out to me today in our group chat when I said, hey, I better figure out how to stop this recording afterwards. Okay, there it is. But no, thank you, man, just for assisting. And there is some other people that, have reached out to me personally. So thank you. And feel free to call me, man. I get it, man. You don't have to talk in a group chat. I hope, man, we keep the group chat going, because I tell you what, I'm hoping that we get people together and we can just share and help one another. Or I'm going to tell you, like, the one thing you should do, and it's hard to do because I'm going to tell you, man, they say it, man, you're lucky if you got one person you can trust in this world, right? Man, I hope, man, we can get a group here where you could just share your natural progression. And even when you fuck up, man, you just share it. Because your fuck up is going to help somebody else. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse, but I'm just trying to be real. When you get the right group of people, we'll grow together. And we're going to mess up. We're not going to be perfect. I'm sure at some point I'm going to make a mistake in this process. But because I'm having so much success, it's the way I approach life. Like, you know what? I'll win 10 times to get knocked down once, and I'll be back up for another 10 times. But I'm going to get knocked down. I know it's coming, but I'm going to get back up. And I want to pass that mindset to everybody else, that you do that with your, like, I'm blessed. I don't have one good friend. I got a group of good friends. That's what we call it. If you ever see when I push the late night table crew, that's not a party crew. That's my boys. I have no brothers and sisters. I'm an only child, but those are my brothers and sisters, because we speak the truth to one another. We call each other out. That's real friends. So I'm just trying to find a group here, man. Maybe this group turns out to be 5, 10 people, but that 5 or 10 people are going to help each other grow to get to where I'm trying to go. Like if I was based on what I've been doing, I give myself maybe 30, 40%. That's why I keep putting out there. I'm trying to get to 150%. I'm not even close to where I want to go. And I want to bring other people with me when I'm doing it.
nice.
So, again,
Cool.
thank you for your time, man. Any questions, man, put it up in the group chat. And, I guess in time maybe we'll do another meeting in the next little while. Tell me what's happening with you guys. And again, if this is not for you, man, don't feel bad if you delete yourself from the group. I'm just trying to help, man. But you're more than welcome to stay, and more than welcome to reach out to me personally now, because now the conversations happen. So I thank you guys, but I'm here I want to share it with you guys. I want you guys to join in with me. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Cool.
Anybody want to say anything? It's open now. If you want to say something, man, feel free to jump in or share something. I don't even know how many people are in here. Do we know? Does it tell me that?
We had about 27,
Yeah, there's
between 27 and 30.
24 people right here right now. So if you want to say something, feel free, man. The mic's open right now. I guess you have to unmute. Do I have to unmute you, or you unmute yourself?
You can, anybody who wants to add anything can just click on the unmute button, or it might say mute for you. Just make it green and share whatever you like. Carlos, I returned the hosting to you so you can stop the recording whenever you want.
I'm just trying to see where I do that now. Stop. There it is. Recording. I see it. So nobody wants to say anything? We're good to go. Let you guys get back to your evenings, and we can chat in the group chat. Is that good? But last call, anybody? All right, guys. Thank you for hearing me out, and I hope it helped you guys, man. And I hope you for some of you, man, it helps change you guys, man. And I'm here, man. If you want to reach out to me now, reach out to me. I got you. All right. Have a good
Awesome.
night, everybody.
Peace.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks, Los. Thanks, Kieran. Thanks,
Good luck,
everybody.
everyone.
And Kieran, thank you again, my friend. Thank you.
Hey, my
Yeah,
pleasure,
thanks,
man.
Los.
You're welcome.
Thanks again, Los.
You're welcome. I was about to jump out. Let me let you guys say bye. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you.